starting with 1 million luck points. Chapter 31. District Head. Wu, you've arrived. Supervisor Han saw Wu Tao and immediately went up to welcome him warmly. Yan Shui was the same. She smiled as she welcomed him. Mayor Wu. However, Wu Tao ignored the two of them and walked straight to Zhou Hao. He asked nervously, "My friend, may I ask if you were the one who killed the two low-level demon generals, the red spot python and the iron-tooth alligator, yesterday in the red swamp forest?" Zhou Hao hesitated for a moment and nodded. "Yes, what's wrong?" Wu Tao was excited. His hands were trembling. Did you also kill an iron-tooth dragon alligator?" He stared intently at Zhou Hao, afraid that he would not answer. Zhou Hao fell silent. Supervisor Han and Yan Shui, who were behind Wu Tao, were stunned. This was the iron-tooth dragon alligator they were talking about. That was a king-level demon beast. Only high-level grandmasters could kill such a powerful beast. Was this person in red armor actually a high-level grandmaster? The two of them almost broke down. However, seeing that Zhou Hao did not reply, Yan Shui could not help but say, District Head Wu, are you mistaken? Are you sure he is someone who is capable of killing an iron-tooth dragon alligator?" Supervisor Han also rushed forward. "Yes, District Head Wu, you're probably mistaken." "Shut up!" Wu Tao berated. At this moment, Zhou Hao swept a glance at Supervisor Han and Yan Shui, then looked at the despairing Jiao Ying'er and sighed. "Forget it, I have to sell the corpse anyway. Yes, I killed an iron-tooth dragon crocodile." As he spoke, Zhou Hao shouted at the technical staff in the warehouse, "Move away." The technical staff hurriedly retreated. Zhou Hao waved his hand. Boom! A 300-meter-long iron-tooth dragon alligator appeared. Click, click, click. The warehouse exploded. Although the iron-tooth dragon alligator was dead, its terrifying might had not disappeared. As soon as it appeared, the monstrous demonic flames swept out, causing the faces of many people in the surroundings to turn pale. All of them could not hold on any longer and fell to the ground. Supervisor Han and Yan Shui looked at the iron-tooth dragon alligator that suddenly appeared in fear. How is this possible? He actually killed an iron-tooth dragon alligator. Disbelief and despair appeared on their faces. The appearance of the iron-tooth dragon alligator shattered the last bit of hope in their hearts. A high-level grandmaster. They had actually offended a high-level grandmaster. In despair, Jiao Ying'er was completely dumbfounded as she looked at the incomparably terrifying iron-tooth dragon alligator. She had never expected that the client she had received was someone who was capable of killing an iron-tooth dragon alligator. Heavens! That was a king-level demon beast. In the entire Huadong city, the only person who could kill a king-level demon beast was the legendary war prodigy, Commander Zhao. In other words, this person in front of him was comparable to the war prodigy of the Huadong city. When Jiao Ying'er thought of this, her mind went blank. As for Wu Tao, he was unable to restrain his excitement. His voice was trembling as he said, yes, the iron-tooth dragon alligator. Then, you must be that peak-level grandmaster. What, peak-level grandmaster? Supervisor Han and Yan Shui's faces turned pale again. Especially Yan Shui, whose entire body was trembling. Slap! Suddenly, Supervisor Han slapped Yan Shui hard on the face. Then he crawled in front of Wu Tao, hugged Wu Tao's thigh, and cried, "District Head Wu, it's all Yan Shui's fault. She was the one who made me enter Jiao Ying'er's warehouse. All of this has nothing to do with me." Wu Tao kicked Supervisor Han out forcefully and said in disgust, "Get lost." Supervisor Han quickly crawled to Zhou Hao and kowtowed. It's my fault, Senior. Please spare me, please spare me." Zhou Hao said indifferently, "Miss Jiao, this is your warehouse. You should throw the unrelated people out. Wu Tao chimed in immediately, yes, yes, Miss Jiao, you call the shots here. Jiao Ying'er was still in a daze. Hearing this, she finally recovered from her shock. Thinking of the despairing pressure that Supervisor Han had given him previously, she gritted her teeth and said mercilessly, get them out. Immediately. 4 staff members walked forward and carried Supervisor Han and Yan Shui away. Wu Tao also smiled. Miss Jiao, from now on, you are the supervisor of the 12th floor's materials department. Jiao Ying'er was stunned again. Me, the supervisor. Wu Tao nodded solemnly. Zhou Hao ignored this. He said calmly, Miss Jiao, how much do you want for this iron-toothed dragon alligator? Jiao Ying'er did not react for a moment. Wu Tao hurriedly signaled to Jiao Ying'er with his eyes. Seeing that she was still in a daze, he could only say, Sir, although the iron-toothed dragon alligator is only a low-level beast king, its defense is powerful and not inferior to a middle-level beast king. Our materials department can give you 45 million yuan for it. What do you think? Jiao Ying'er finally regained her senses and nodded like a chick holding rice in its mouth. Seeing this, Zhou Hao pondered for a moment. The price of king-level demon beasts generally ranged from 20 million to 30 million. It was indeed not bad for Wu Tao and Jiao Ying'er to offer 45 million. Alright, 45 million then. Including the red spot python and the iron-tooth alligator. That's a total of 52.2 million, right? Zhou Hao said. Jiao Ying'er took a deep breath. That's right. She took out her crystal card. Zhou Hao also took out his crystal card. He entered the number on it and bumped it with Jiao Ying'er's card. The number in the crystal card increased by more than 50 million. Zhou Hao smiled and stretched out his hand. Nice working with you. Jiao Ying'er hurriedly stretched out her fair hands and shook Zhou Hao's. Likewise. Then, she asked carefully, Sir, may we have a chance to work together in the future? Chapter 32. As soon as Jiao Ying'er spoke, Wu Tao's heart tightened. This was a peak-level grandmaster. Even if it was just business cooperation, it represented countless possibilities. Zhou Hao smiled. Of course. Jiao Ying'er revealed a sincere and sweet smile. Thank you. Zhou Hao looked at the heartfelt smile and said encouragingly, all the best. With that said, he tapped his foot and soared into the sky. 10 seconds after he left. Boom. 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 One after another, powerful figures landed. Among them was a terrifying aura that suppressed the surroundings. Where's that peak-level Grandmaster Senior? These were the Grandmasters of the Huadong city. Naturally, this incident at the Area B warehouse of the Underground Alliance Mall could not be hidden from them. The moment they received the news, they rushed over anxiously. Commander Zhao looked at President He. President He shook his head lightly. Wu Tao was actually a spy he had planted in the Underground Alliance Mall. However, he wasn't planning on exposing him at this moment. Grandmaster Zhen from the Underground Alliance Mall swept his gaze towards Wu Tao. Speak, where's that peak-level Grandmaster Senior? Wu Tao hurriedly said, that senior has already left. Grandmaster Zhen's expression changed. What? Why didn't you stop him? Wu Tao smiled bitterly. Commander Zhao said indifferently, Zhenhong, pay attention to your attitude. Let alone Wu Tao, even if it were us, we wouldn't have been able to make that Grandmaster Senior stay behind. Zhenhong hurriedly nodded. He was also anxious. After all, this was a peak-level Grandmaster they were talking about. Yesterday, he thought that there was no chance of finding him. Who would have thought that the Grandmaster would actually come to the Underground Alliance Mall to sell materials? Zhenhong wanted to seize this rare and precious opportunity. The other Grandmasters were also anxious, but they could only endure it. Commander Zhao smiled at Wu Tao and asked, District Head Wu, can you tell me what happened? Wu Tao immediately described everything in detail. I don't know what happened before that. However, Supervisor Chiao should know. In front of Commander Zhao, the war prodigy, he did not dare to hide anything. Commander Zhao looked at Chiao Ying'er. Chiao Ying'er suppressed the excitement in her heart and explained methodically. When Zhen Hong heard this, he could not help but curse in exasperation. What? That dog shit Han and Yan actually dared to curse the Grand Master Senior? They're simply too bold. Wu Tao, do you not know how to manage your subordinates? Wu Tao hurriedly admitted his mistake. My apologies. The other Grand Masters secretly laughed. The opportunity had already come knocking on their door, and yet the Underground Alliance Mall performed so terribly. They were only worried that they had disappointed the Grand Master Senior. Zhen Hong gritted his teeth. He was furious. Seeing this, Wu Tao hurriedly said, Lord Zhen, before that senior left, he said that he would work with Supervisor Chiao again. Zhen Hong, who was about to explode, heard this and his eyes lit up. He stared fixedly at Chiao Ying'er and revealed a warm and gentle smile. Supervisor Chiao, no, Sister Chiao, is that true? Did that Grand Master Senior say that he would work with you again? Chiao Ying'er could not react in time. After all, he was a Grand Master. A powerful existence that could shake the entire Huadong city with only his words. Why was he so enthusiastic about her? However, it was true that they had experienced a battle together just now. Senior Zhen, District Head Wu is right. Before that Grand Master left, he did say that he would work with me again. Ha ha, good, good, good. Zhen Hong couldn't help but roar with laughter. Initially, he thought that he had disappointed that senior. He didn't expect that in the blink of an eye, a new opportunity would appear due to the supervisor. There was indeed a silver lining. The other Grand Masters also reacted. They hurriedly walked forward. Sister Chiao is so pretty. Our family only lacks a capable supervisor like you. Sister Chiao, the management of the Underground Alliance Mall is making a terrible mistake by suppressing a beautiful and bright girl such as yourself. How outrageous! Come work for me. I guarantee that no one will dare to bully you. He Biao also shot a signal at Wu Tao with his eyes. Wu Tao smiled bitterly. How could he dare to speak in such a situation? Commander Zhao looked at him speechlessly, but he had made his decision. As long as that peak-level Grand Master was willing to stay in the city, it would be the honor of the city. As for the surrounding people who were watching the commotion, they were all dumbfounded when they saw this situation. They only returned to their senses after the group of Grand Masters left. Looking at the huge iron-toothed dragon alligator in the warehouse, they sighed repeatedly. What a turn of events! Yeah, isn't this Chiao Ying'er's luck a little too good? She just happened to receive a client who turned out to be a peak-level Grandmaster. Well, what can you do? She just got lucky. I don't think Supervisor Han and Manager Yan will be able to get their revenge this time. Do you really expect them to be able to make a comeback after offending a peak-level Grandmaster? What a joke. Just watch. The Underground Alliance Mall will definitely not let the two of them off. However, my horizons have been broadened today. I got to see so many Grandmasters gather at one spot. Yeah, it's a rare sight. Even after District Head Wu left, Chiao Ying'er still could not calm down. The half-an-hour experience just now was almost more exciting than her 20-plus years of life. I wonder if I can ever repay your kindness in this life. Looking at the night sky at the entrance of the warehouse, Chiao Ying'er felt extremely grateful. Chapter 33. After leaving the Underground Alliance Mall, Zhou Hao did not return to Yang Garden residence. Instead, he arrived at the Martial Artist Union building. The accident that happened when he was selling the materials was only a small interlude to him. The only reason why he supported Xiao Ying'er was because she had stood up for him despite the desperate pressure. Such a hard-working person was indeed worthy of his help. Standing in front of the glass revolving door and looking at the imposing tall building, he couldn't help but sigh with emotion in his heart. The Martial Artist Union sure is rich. Although the Martial Artist Union was far inferior to the Underground Alliance Mall in terms of materials acquisition and weapon manufacturing, its cultivation techniques, combat techniques, and medicinal pills were far superior to the Underground Alliance Mall. Zhou Hao had rushed here not only to forge a special weapon, but also to buy a cultivation technique to advance his blood essence and learn secret techniques. After all, he was now carrying a huge sum of more than 50 million yuan. It would be a waste for him to just keep it with him, so he might as well take the opportunity to increase his strength. Seeing the surrounding martial artists enter and leave, he did not hesitate to walk into the revolving door. Buzz. As soon as Zhou Hao entered the glass revolving door, the two scanning devices above immediately started scanning. You have reached the required strength to be classified as a martial artist. Welcome to the Martial Artist Union. An electronic female voice sounded. The Martial Artist Union was much more stricter when it came to security than the Underground Alliance. One needed to have the strength of a martial artist just to enter the building. There were not many people in the spacious hall on the first floor. There was a reception desk on the left, and a spiral glass elevator on the right. Zhou Hao walked to the front desk. The beautiful uniformed attendant at the desk smiled and said, "Sir, how can I help you? I want to buy cultivation techniques and secret techniques. I also need to forge a weapon," he said in a low voice. The cultivation techniques and secret techniques are sold on the 15th floor and you can find the facilities for weapon forging on the 8th floor. Sir, please note that in order to forge weapons or buy cultivation techniques, you will first have to join the Martial Artist Union, the female attendant said with a smile. Zhou Hao couldn't help frowning. He had long heard that the Martial Artist Union had strict policies. Now, it seemed that the rumors were true. When the female service staff saw Zhou Hao's reaction, she hurriedly said, "Sir, don't worry. The Martial Artist Union has very few restrictions on its members. In addition, member registration will only require you to provide some basic information." Zhou Hao still frowned. "Do I need to verify my citizen identity?" He did not want his identity to be leaked. The attendant continued, "Not if you only want to buy some ordinary cultivation techniques and forge weapons. However, if you want to buy high-level cultivation techniques or secret techniques, you will need union contribution points, and that would require your citizen identity information." Zhou Hao understood. Without a doubt, the Martial Artist Union was selective when it came to selling to outsiders. However, thinking about it, it was understandable. After all, to martial artists, cultivation techniques and secret techniques were far more important than other resources. "Where can I register?" "There's a special counter on the second floor." Zhou Hao immediately went to the second floor and easily found the counter. Just as the attendant said, the union member registration procedure was indeed very simple. Zhou Hao only needed to test his strength and input some basic information. He did not have to verify his identity at all. Zhou Hao used a fake name and obtained his member identification card. Then, he took the elevator to the 8th floor. His red armor had been changed before he entered to prevent anyone from recognizing him. Zhou Hao, who was now in black armor, arrived at a weapon workshop. "Sir, are you here to forge a weapon?" a man with a beard asked with a smile. "Yes, I want to forge a saber." As Zhou Hao spoke, he took out the materials he obtained from the blue-horned blood wolf and the single-horned rhino tyrant. The bearded shopkeeper swept his gaze over and said with a smile, "These two materials are both high-level general-level material. If you work with some metal ores and other materials, you should be able to forge a king-level saber." Zhou Hao nodded. A king-level saber was temporarily good enough for him. How long will it take? He asked. 2 days will do, but the manufacturing fee and additional materials won't be cheap. It'll cost about 4 million, the bearded shopkeeper said hesitantly. Zhou Hao said directly, sure. The bearded shopkeeper couldn't help but say happily, all right, sir. You can just use your member identification card. When the weapon is completed, you will get a notification from your card. After that, you can just come by to collect the goods and pay. Zhou Hao wasn't afraid that the shopkeeper would cheat him of his materials. The martial artist union had strict policies, especially for the shopkeepers. If the shopkeepers were to secretly steal materials from their customers, they would be caught by the martial artist union in a short period of time. Even if they weren't caught, the martial artist union would still fully compensate the members for their losses. After that, Zhou Hao arrived at the 15th floor. As he was an outer member, he could only buy ordinary cultivation techniques and secret arts. But even so, the techniques he could buy here were still much stronger than the basic cultivation techniques in the school. However, there were just too many ordinary cultivation techniques and secret techniques to choose from. Looking at the choices, Zhou Hao felt overwhelmed. After browsing for more than 10 minutes, he decided to buy a blood essence advancing cultivation technique blood transformation art. The name was rather sinister, but this was a relatively ordinary blood essence cultivation technique. Apart from cultivation techniques, he also bought a secret saber technique shadow saber stance. Just one cultivation technique and one secret technique had cost him more than 6 million. Zhou Hao only recovered from the heartache he felt for spending so much money when he left the martial artist union. And that was only the price for the two techniques. Adding up the fees from weapon forging, he had spent a total of 30 million. Chapter 34. No wonder people say being a martial artist was an expensive lifestyle. They earn money quickly, but they also spend money just as quickly. Zhou Hao sighed after returning to his villa in Yang Garden residence. In fact, in terms of quality, the cultivation techniques in the Heaven Dao software were the best. After receiving the cultivation technique from the mystery box, Zhou Hao didn't even need to cultivate for the Dragon Elephant Wisdom technique to take effect. However, mystery boxes were still based on luck. Although Zhou Hao had luck points, he still couldn't place all his hopes on it. He had to plan ahead and prepare for the worst. Of course, under usual circumstances, Zhou Hao would still rely on the mystery boxes to obtain cultivation techniques. The two cultivation techniques he had bought were only for backup. After taking a shower, his parents returned. They looked very well. The problems they were facing seemed to have been completely resolved. Little Hao, I passed by the supermarket today and bought a lot of your favorite food. I'll cook it later and let you try it. Wang Shiyun smiled. She had already learned from her husband that her son had given them the scarlet blood vine and the rhino horn. It made her feel happy and relieved. Her son had become dependable. Now that he had grown up, he could bear the burden of the family. His parents were happy, and so was Zhou Hao. All right, Mom. I'll be looking forward to it. Zhou Suiwo laughed. Son, it's been a while since we played Chinese chess. Want to play around? All right, Dad, just don't regret it when you lose. Zhou Hao smiled and sat on the sofa. Not long after, Zhou Suiwo took out the Chinese chess set and placed it on the coffee table. As Zhou Hao played Chinese chess, he opened the Heaven Dao software and browsed the chat hall. The chat hall was still the same. Without the appearance of rare level items, there were very few people sending messages in the chat hall. Another lonely day. It's always the same, hi. Roses every day. I really want to remove this stupid software. I don't understand. If you find the opening rate of ordinary mystery boxes to be so low, why don't you open the silver mystery box? Silver mystery box. Zhou Hao's interest was instantly piqued, and questions arose in his heart. What was a silver mystery box? Right then, another user in the chat hall asked the same question. A user, who was clearly of a higher level, quickly replied, "The silver mystery box is a higher level mystery box. It can only be accessed when one reaches the silver level. I can't tell you the exact rules. I can only say that the items in the silver mystery boxes are much better than the ones in ordinary mystery boxes. Furthermore, the items in silver mystery boxes are more likely to fulfill your needs." The other users continued to ask for more details, but the silver level user did not say anything else. It seemed to be due to the software policy. There's actually higher level mystery boxes. Zhou Hao was stunned. At this moment, Zhou Suiwo's laughter sounded. "Checkmate, son, you're going to lose." Zhou Hao's thoughts were pulled back. He looked at the mess on the coffee table and said helplessly, "Dad, you actually ambushed me when I wasn't paying attention. Where's your sportsmanship?" "Haha, son, you have to be focused when playing chess. It's the same for everything else." Zhou Suiwo laughed and waved his hand. "All right, I can tell that you have something to do. Go do your own things first." Zhou Hao really wanted to figure out the silver mystery boxes. "Dad, let's play again after dinner." With that, he hurriedly returned to his bedroom and looked at the Heaven Dao software. He opened his personal page and scanned his level. Level, 220/10,000, bronze. After coming into contact with the Heaven Dao software for so many days, he had never paid attention to his level. However, after seeing the comments of the silver level user today, Zhou Hao realized that the user level was probably very important in the Heaven Dao software. Fortunately, he had always maintained the habit of browsing the chat hall. Otherwise, he might have missed today's information. It had to be known that most of the people in the chat hall were bronze users, and very few silver users appeared. As for gold users, he had never even seen them before. "I used a total of 220 Heaven Dao coins, so I have 220 experience points. In other words, the more Heaven Dao coins I spend, the more I can increase my level." Zhou Hao muttered as he stared at his level. The Heaven Dao software was very mysterious. There was no explanation inside, so Zhou Hao had to figure out everything himself. After hesitating for a moment, he gritted his teeth and directly opened the mystery box page in the shop section. Seeing that he still had nearly 10,000 Heaven Dao coins in his account, he made a shocking decision. He took a deep breath and quickly clicked on 1,000 consecutive draws. And he did not even use his luck points. Swoosh! 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 The mystery boxes continued to open, but almost all the items obtained were trash. While Zhou Hao was busy opening boxes, many users started to notice his activity. There were quite a few users that would open 100 boxes at once, but very few opened 1,000 boxes. After all, opening 1,000 boxes required one to spend 10,000 Heaven Dao coins, which was equivalent to 1 million yuan. It was just too much money. F***ck, what a rich dog. How bold of him to open 1,000 consecutive boxes. I guess the rich can just do as they please. How ballsy. If not for the lack of coins, I would have done the same. The probability is just too low. Humph. What's the use of 1,000 consecutive draws? It's all going to be trash anyway. Nothing to be envious about. Isn't this the user? I'm just an ordinary person who drew a rare level item last time. Haha, that's him. I've been observing his draws the entire time. He's only gotten a pile of trash. I suppose he can't be lucky forever. Immediately, a discussion started in the chat hall. Zhou Hao naturally did not know that repeatedly opening the mystery boxes to level up would cause a wave of envy and ridicule. He also used the Heaven Dao coins he got from the draws to open even more mystery boxes. After consuming all of the coins, he hurriedly went to his personal page. With a glance, he noticed that his level had changed. 11,730/1 million, silver. Silver level. However, the requirement for the next level also increased by 100 times. Unbelievable. I would need to spend 1 million Heaven Dao coins if I want to get to the next level. Seeing this, Zhou Hao took a deep breath and returned to the shop section of the software. Indeed, the interface had changed. A new silver mystery box appeared on the right. This must be the silver mystery box. Zhou Hao hurriedly opened the introduction to the rules of the mystery box and seriously browsed through it. Chapter 35. The silver mystery boxes cost 10,000 per box. Items such as roses, Heaven Dao coins were still included and remained the same. As for weapons, cultivation techniques, and pills, the rules had been changed. The user had to fill in information about the cultivation techniques, weapons, and pills that they owned, and the system would make adjustments and upgrades accordingly. There was not much introduction to the rules, and Zhou Hao had become even more puzzled. He did not expect to have to fill in information about the weapons, cultivation techniques, and pills he owned. After thinking for a moment, he simply purchased another 20,000 Heaven Dao coins, which was 2 million yuan. This bit of money was nothing to the current Zhou Hao. I'll open one just to see what it's like first. Luck points were very important, and he did not plan to use them now. The purchase was successful. He clicked on the screen subconsciously. Ding. User, please fill in your cultivation techniques, weapons, and medicinal pills. Blood transformation technique, Shadow Saber stance, top grade blood explosion pill, black tortoise set, dragon elephant wisdom technique. He filled in the cultivation techniques, medicinal pills, and weapons he had. Click. The mystery box automatically spun before a checkup sign appeared. Zhou Hao clicked on it, and his eyes lit up. Based on the cultivation techniques, weapons, and medicinal pills Zhou Hao had entered into the system, the software showed a list of items that Zhou Hao could possibly obtain. Cultivation techniques, blood transformation art, blood burning art, 3 revolutions, divine blood art, 9 revolutions, golden body art. Shadow Saber stance, Mirage/Shadow 7 sabers, sky splitting divine technique. Dragon elephant wisdom technique, 36th level of the dragon elephant wisdom technique, 36th level of the dragon elephant wisdom technique. Weapons, black tortoise set, black tortoise sacred set, black tortoise divine armor. Medicinal pills, top grade blood explosion pill, divine blood pill, primordial blood pill. Upon seeing this, Zhou Hao became excited. It turned out that the upgrades mentioned in the introduction of the silver mystery box were upgrades that increased the levels of the cultivation techniques, pills, and weapons one owned. The probability was also different for items with different levels. Clearly, the higher the level of the item, the lower the probability. Haha, looks like there isn't anything for me to worry about. Zhou Hao was overjoyed. When ordinary mystery boxes were opened, the items were entirely unknown and random. What one could draw would depend on luck. Sometimes, even if one was extremely lucky, they might not necessarily be able to draw something that suited them. For example, the blood explosion pill Zhou Hao had gotten last time was of little value to him and could only be used as a trump card. But things were different now. With the silver mystery box, he could choose to open the top grade items he liked or needed. Although it costs 10,000 Heaven Dao coins per box, which is equivalent to 1 million yuan, it's still very worth it. Zhou Hao couldn't help but exclaim as he looked at the item list for the silver mystery box. He swept his eyes over the luck points. It was still 53,000, current level, overwhelming luck. After careful consideration, he decided to open it first. He wanted to see what kind of item he could get with more than 50,000 luck points. As such, he would have a rough idea of what to expect next time he opened the mystery box. Thinking of this, he no longer hesitated and directly consumed his luck points. He then clicked on the screen subconsciously. Boom! Unlike ordinary mystery boxes, the silver mystery box was even more dazzling when it was opened. A silver box appeared on the entire virtual screen. It quickly spun and then exploded. Ding! Congratulations on opening the silver mystery box and obtaining the rare level cultivation technique, Shadow 7 Sabers. This item has been placed in your bag. Please take note. At the same time, the software sent out an announcement, "Congratulations user, I am only an ordinary person for obtaining a rare second level cultivation technique from the silver mystery box." This announcement was only sent out to users above the silver level. Unlike bronze users, silver users were often active in the chat hall, but when they saw this announcement, both silver users and gold users went wild. Who is this person? He actually got a second level item from the silver box. Although the probability of obtaining something good from the silver mystery box is high, that's only when the item is a first level item. And yet this person actually managed to obtain a second level item, and it's even a cultivation technique. I don't know how many boxes this person opened, but to be able to obtain a second level cultivation technique, his luck must be off the charts. I'm so envious and jealous. Silver mystery boxes are indeed full of treasure. I know this person. He just opened 1,000 ordinary mystery boxes. Furthermore, he had even gotten 2 rare level items before. It seems that he's switched to opening silver mystery boxes, and it's probably his first time opening a silver mystery box. F***ck, no way. He got a rare level item on his first try. Zhou Hao, on the other hand, was currently unaware of the envy and jealousy the silver and gold users felt towards him. However, when he opened the Shadow 7 Sabers, his face revealed excitement. After all, he had only spent more than 50,000 luck points. In the end, he managed to open a second level advancement cultivation technique. One had to know that the Shadow Saber stance he bought had only 3 levels. If I had known that I would be able to get the second level with just 50,000 luck points, I would have waited longer to accumulate more luck points. Zhou Hao was excited. In comparison to the Shadow 7 Sabers, the sky-splitting divine technique sounded much more impressive. Of course, he only thought about it for a while. After all, he had only opened the silver mystery box to test his luck points. He went to his personal page and hurriedly took out Shadow 7 Sabers. Boom! With the thought, a large amount of experience, comprehension, and profundity of the cultivation technique Shadow 7 Sabers surged into his mind. Zhou Hao couldn't help but practice his saber on the spot. Although he did not have a saber in his hand, his footsteps were creepily fast as he flashed back and forth in the room. In half a second, he flashed 7 times. Every time his hand moved, space seemed to be split open. As expected of a cultivation technique upgrade from the software. Compared to this, the Shadow Saber stance was simply trash. Standing in place, Zhou Hao's eyes were filled with joy. When he bought the cultivation technique, he had read the introduction of the Shadow Saber stance. If one cultivated it to the limit, they would at most be able to create a trace of an illusion with their saber. However, if one cultivated the Shadow 7 Sabers to the limit, they could be as unpredictable as a ghost. They could be shockingly fast. I originally thought that after selling the king-level demon beast, the iron-toothed dragon alligator, I wouldn't have to worry about money for the time being. But now, it seems that I still have to make a lot of money. Zhou Hao thought to himself. Each silver mystery box he opened would cost 1,000,000 yuan. If he continued like this, he would spend all the money he had in no time. More importantly, he had to increase his level in the software.